So it's probably easier to start with the picture of the guy, because images are often things that we're pushing or pulling away from. So I'll just demonstrate it with my body. So this thought comes up. If I don't see the image, it's almost like the image is me, or that it's so unconscious that I'm just thinking and I'm believing what the image, the meaning is conveying. But in the moment that I begin to turn my attention towards it, see it, is the first shot that I have from unhooking from identification with it. But this is where it gets tricky, because I'm either going to want to push on it, like if somehow my awareness is supposed to make it go away, or make it into something different, make it better, make it smaller, whatever. That's kind of fighting, pushing on it. Or there's just this, I don't want to look at that, pull away. So both of those things feed the image. They feed the strength of it. By either pushing on it, like as if there's something wrong with it and it has to change, or pulling away from it. So instead, while you're looking at it, just how to notice something is to notice the picture, but also to notice the space in which it's arising. There's a difference between narrowly focusing on something, like this is the only thing you see, is this, and seeing the space around that. Can you see this with the space around it? It just relaxes some of the resistance towards it. So we call it notice, open, watch. Notice just means notice, see it. Open means recognize that space around it. And watch means just watch for the push or pull. So here I am thinking like, oh, I got hit when I was in 6th grade, and that's whatever. I don't want to think about that. But then I go, there's the picture of it. Noticed it. Open to the space around it. Breathing helps. It's good for some people. A deep breath. And then just watching for the notice, open, watch for the ways in which I'm pushing or pulling. And just by watching that, it brings the push-pull into awareness. And then through that push-pull, there's like a quiet stillness within it. Because the push and the pull are now made conscious. They're kind of these little movements that come and go. And in that, there's just this sort of letting it be exactly as it is. There's no longer trying to do anything with it. And when there's no longer trying to do anything with it, first of all, it just doesn't matter as much. Or it'll fall away naturally. All that is really important. Hey, it really is. I can't tell you how many times I've been in inquiry with someone and a point that the issue is not the picture or the content of the picture or the words. The issue is their relationship to the thing, how they're related to it. So let me just do it a different way, just to show you how to suffer. Here's how to suffer. The first way to suffer is not to even notice it, right? So I'm having an image of bullying, and it's like, whatever, I don't even think about that. That's dead and gone. I don't, that's sleeping dog's lie. Even though I'm being bullied presently because I'm reenacting the whole thing in my life. So there's the first way to suffer is don't notice it. Second way to suffer is that once you notice it, either try to make it go away or change it, there's pushing on it, or pull away from it. Because the pulling away from it is an avoidance strategy, which doesn't really work. Because if avoidance worked, then everybody would be free. Because everybody avoids. Right? Also, trying to make it change, I understand in certain traditions is the goal, but it isn't with this. The reason I think trying to make it change is because I think that itself is a fight. You're fighting with it. Instead of letting it be, there's no acceptance of it. So, if you want to suffer, you try to make it change. Try to have a positive feeling around it. Or pull away from it. But if you turn towards it again, notice open to the space around it. And just watch for the push or the pull. Then you unhook from it. And either it stays there and you're unhooked from it, or it disappears. But either way, you're just not hooked into it anymore. Same is true for words, even though words are different because you don't. Yeah, go ahead.
Just reminds me of how I deal with nightmares. I think it's useful when you have nightmares or visions of such. You can't fight them. You can't wrestle them all night.
Right. So words are different because you might hear them. A lot of people just hear words in their mind, the voice in their head. But some people see them, because in inquiry we actually invite you to see them spelled out. But either way, it's the same thing. If you see them, it's the same thing as the guy in the picture, because it's a visual image that you're seeing. So the question is just, can you notice it? Open to that space around it, open your focus, and then just watch for the push-pull. That's all. And then if you hear the words, it's just hearing them, and then just watching for the push-pull. Just in your relationship to that thought, is there a tensing up? Is there kind of a pushing away? Is there like, I don't want to hear that. Just noticing that is really, so you can go really, really deep without ever doing any kind of formal inquiry, like I think. That's what I've learned at the center, because I many times don't do the living inquiries, because if you can just get people to relate differently to what's arising, they're unhooking naturally from things without asking inquiry questions. But we'll get to the inquiry. So then the energies, because remember words, pictures, energies. We'll go through it in a second. Well, let's go back to what is it that comes with it. So if I have the picture, the stressful picture, then there's the Velcro of the energy, the feeling of anxiety or sadness or whatever. By going like this, looking at the picture, noticing the space around it, watching for the push-pull, there's just like this unhooking from it. And then as that falls away, I move down to the energy. And this guy is what I often use to represent energy, because he's not a word or a picture. He's more like a thing you feel.
Is it a heart?
Yeah. We could do better. But it represents any energy that you have. So when this thing is unhooked from your experience and it sort of usually falls away, but in any case it's just unhooked, then you come down and feel this in awareness. So let's say it's right here, it's a sensation that's lodged there. A lot of times I think when I used to work with people, I would say, now just rest with that. And I thought that that's what was going on. But it wasn't. Because naturally, we've been conditioned to try to feel better and do better and get rid of things and all that. So it took me a while to kind of figure out, well, how do I say it? And then I just would say, notice where the push or the pull is. Because in the same way, if that's here and there's like a push against it, it's like it's making it stay. Because in some ways, I don't want to say it that way. Just know in your own experience, try it out. Try to push on something because it feels stressful, and it often makes something persist because it makes it bigger than what it really is. Pushing on it means trying to change it. Like, if I sit here long enough, it'll turn into good energy, as an example. Or just, I don't like this, or I want this to go away. But also avoidance, which is like, oh, there's that feeling, cookies. Something. or not even cookies, like, there's that feeling, I think there's some work I have to do. I know there's a lot of things I have to do today. So that's the turning away, the pulling away. But when you say, so notice, open, watch for a feeling is just notice means feel it. Like you're feeling almost like to the center of it very, very gently. And then noticing the space around it. Like the still quiet space that surrounds it if you can. And then just watching for the push and pull. And because then you're bringing the push and pull into the light of your awareness, you're noticing it. And that unhooks you from the push and the pull. And then there's a real sense of being with it as it is. And then, again, as you're with it as it is, and there's no push or pull, either it stays there and it's not a big deal, or it goes away. But either way, you've unhooked from it. You've unhooked from identifying with it and trying to fix it. So if just that alone goes very deep. Just notice, open, watch for push-pull with all phenomena that's arising. You can even do it with people, like if I'm sitting with you, I just notice you, I open to that space around you, and then I notice any push or pull with you. You know, like, I want you to act differently. Or I want the feel, what you experience, really what's on your side. Because I can't do anything on her side. I can only see how it's showing up on my side.
Can you give an example of push and pull in this example?
Yeah, well, a good way to notice is if I had two people sit face to face, eye to eye, and they'd say, now just look at each other. You know, because the fight, flight, freeze response is going to be like, so there's a push, like or a pull away from, like a threat, a feeling of threat. But even in any kind of conversation, like there's a push-pull in the way we relate to each other. Like,
but examples, like what
yeah.
would be the push, what would be the pull?
Like, I wish you wouldn't ask that question.
So that's the push or pull?
Yeah, well, it's kind of like a push, like go
pull,
away.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So what would be the pull?
Wait, they kind of are the same thing, aren't they? But a pull away,
Yeah, I want something from you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the pull.
Pull
Pull away. Okay. That's a pull away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or the feeling that goes with it. Like even if we're sitting there, we're just like tensing up, but we're like that. It's a felt sense.
It's that inner dialogue that's always
Yeah.
kind of running.
It's
So,
that
I mean,
energy.
through addictions, we're always trying to control our environment, essentially, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Like always, even at the most subtle way to try and control, and that means people, too,
Yeah.
how we relate to them.
And ourselves and our bodies.
Yeah.
Could pull also be wanting someone to come closer, like if you are feeling needy and
Yeah.
you're wanting something.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's why I say kind of follow it on your own time. Because when you want somebody, it's almost like you're trying to feel better from somebody else.
Yeah.
Just like you would want a feeling to feel better. If you think of it that way, I always think of this work as only really working with words, pictures, and energy, not people. Because I don't really see it as people. I see it as really words, pictures, and energy. Because if I took the words and the pictures away from this room, where are the people? See, it's an idea, right? If you really, no words, no pictures for the moment. Your mind is quiet. You don't know people. See? So what you do know, though, is the words and the pictures coming up to say, yeah, there are people here. His name is such and such, and I don't like the way she talks. But what you're really saying is those are thoughts, words, pictures, energies. So keep it on your own side. And then when you're relating with other people, just notice the words, pictures, and energies and how you're relating to those as you're in the space of awareness. And that keeps it simple, it keeps it on your own side. You give up trying to fix other people. That whole game stops.
But does